The meeting of the Apache Junction Parks and Recreation Commission to order on Wednesday, April 5th, 2023 at 6 p.m. Would you rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Thank you. A roll call, please, Carol. Yeah, Judge said I could have 12, 15 years.
Yes, sir. Vice Chair Heather Muller,
Here.
Commissioner D.L. Kine,
Here.
Commissioner Cheryl Bigelow,
Here.
Commissioner Judy Bory,
Here.
Commissioner Terrell Moore,
Here.
Chairman Frank Shanebeck.
Here.
Thank you. We have 6, and we have a quorum.
Thank you. The commission at this time may take single action on any or all items listed as consent agenda items. Any member of the commission may remove any item from the consent agenda for discussion and cause a separate vote on the matter later in the agenda. Tonight, let's have a separate vote for the agenda. So under 23-156, could I have a motion to accept the agenda as written?
I move that the Parks and Recreation Commission accept the agenda as presented and approve the minutes with the correction that Commissioner Moore was absent from March 1st, 2023 regular meeting.
Okay, may I have a second?
I can second that.
Roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Terrell Moore,
Yes.
Vice Chair Heather Muller,
Yes.
Commissioner D.L. Kine,
Yes.
Commissioner Cheryl Bigelow,
Yes.
Commissioner Judy Bory,
Yes.
Chairman Frank Shanebeck.
Yes,
Thank you. It's unanimous.
thank you. Any commission members have something you have attended and they would like to share? Let's start with Judy.
Well, I attended the Brews and Blues, and I have to say that Park and Rec does an outstanding job in setting up, you know, the perimeters and the stages and everything else that goes into that event. And it was a greatly attended, beautiful weather, and great music, of course. And then, of course, I hopped on a plane to Tennessee the day after. So that's about all I could get, attend. But it looks like you guys have done a phenomenal job with all of the programs that you've done.
Thank you. Keely?
Perfect. So Dino Days was fun. Did some fossils with the kiddos. It was great to see both the dinosaurs and the kiddos' reactions to the dinosaurs, especially when the one would spit water at them. That was quite entertaining, as well as I finally hiked Silly Mountain. Almost killed me. The flowers are beautiful, but if you have asthma or allergies, they are not so beautiful. But really like the scenic trail, and then when it came to the hiking, that was a little less fun with all the flowers, but still really beautiful views. And it's just nice to get out into our parks.
Thank you. Cheryl, let's start with you down there.
No activities this month.
Been staying home.
Well, things come up. I'm kind of
Oh, yeah.
busy with 3 little puppies too right now.
That'll keep you going. Yes, Heather?
I was super excited to attend my first Dino Days, and I took every picture opportunity there was, and there's lots of activities, and I was super excited. Sometimes I think I was more excited than the kids, but that's okay, because it was my first time. I was happy about that. And then I just enjoyed participating as well on Earth Day, for the Ladybug release on the 1st, and I had a great time with that, and I felt like that was a big, huge community event. I really enjoyed that.
Terrell?
So unfortunately, I had to work, but for Blues and Brews, I had my other half. She was there actually helping out and volunteering, and I was able to see some of the pictures. Amazing. So hopefully next year I'll be able to request that day off and come out and enjoy the excitement that was there.
I pretty much missed, thank you, Terrell. I pretty much missed everything on everybody else's list except for Earth Day. I did make it to that, and I made it to the Itty Bitty Olympics, which was a riot to watch. Yeah. I was taking care of the photograph stand where the kids stood on a little platform and got their picture taken by their parents. And it was quite enjoyable to watch. So, and it was well-run, and again, another event with many happy families, which is just awesome to see. And I did take a turn on Silly Mountain. Silly Mountain took a turn on me. We have to get softer rocks with less corners on them, please. And other than that, that's it. So let's move on to the staff report. Director Langenbach, please give your staff report, then Superintendent Sullivan will present hers.
Thank you, Chairman Shanebeck. So we have a lot of different things going, whoops, sorry. Oh, that's popping up. A lot of different things going on in parks. A lot of the park improvement projects are wrapping up for this fiscal year. One of the newest things is our playground at Prospector Park. We've been sharing with you, we are replacing our oldest large structure over there and a couple of other smaller areas with a really nice, big, large multi-unit over at Prospector Park. It has a little bit of shade built into it, so we're excited for that, but there's construction fencing going on. They have had a few little setbacks as they've been getting that in place, so that area has just been down with a playground, I think for a couple weeks now. Does that sound right, Riley? And then they hope to be done by next week. So you'll be able to see that up, and we're super excited about that. That's definitely a neat new amenity. We've been talking about Silly Mountain and the grant for about 18 months, and so we're really happy to report that our primitive vault restroom is in and very positively received, and then our Ramada is also in. There's a few things being done still with the Ramada, a few little touch-ups to the eaves, and then we're also getting picnic tables underneath that for people to be able to, as a resting area or meeting area for the trails.
That board with the map on it is outstanding.
Yeah, they did a nice job. We'll be having more of those throughout the trail. We have identified several areas where there either is no map or it's an old faded one. We have a new little mini trail. The Ghost Trail is kind of a cutoff for Palo Verde Trail. Palo Verde over time, due to all the erosion, had gotten to be a little bit more treacherous than it's marked as an easy course. And it's not so easy anymore, so we did do kind of a cross-cut course that will bypass sort of the eroded area. It's certainly not too hard for just the average hiker, but if somebody really doesn't want to be walking on a little more steep rocks or rough terrain, they can take a little, and then it puts them right past the old graveyard that is identified in the map. So that's going to be getting added to our map. We have a lot of fresh signage out there that Superstition Area Land Trust, SALT, they made those for us and helped to install them with our parks maintenance staff. So we did some new signage for that Ghost Trail in particular, but also we had a lot of people walking from the Botanical Walk right off onto the trail and creating wildcat trails. So we're going to be really working hard to have just one of those, and we actually marked it, and then the other ones will start really continuing to try to discourage people from doing those.
Now, there's a couple holders for maps, paper maps, that I don't think are being provided anymore.
They're being provided every single day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I've been checking our ranger logs. They run out I've been there 3 times and there's been nothing in them. But the rangers are filling them every day. We just have, especially during this time of year, our last report was that we have 20,000 visitors every month during the winter months this year, in comparison to June and July when we have 2,000 people a month. So the hot months versus the cooler months. I'll be honest, I've told Kelly before I didn't believe him that they were being put in, but I've seen them and they're just gone really early. So whether we'll even continue that or else just really encourage, there's really good Wi-Fi out, or really good internet access out there, cell access. And so people are able to use the QR codes on our map, so we might just try to continue.
I had thought that people were just taking a picture of that nice
Yeah,
thing on the display there, and you don't need a paper map.
that's really
once you take a
common.
picture of
Those
that.
things though are there, and so people expect there to be paper maps, but
Yeah.
they're taking the paper, and they're not leaving them behind,
Nope.
so Yeah, so we continue just to kind of double check with the Rangers. It's showing, they go and open first thing in the morning and stuff another handful. I don't know how many they're stuffing, and maybe that's another thing we can ask.
That's interesting. Thank you.
Yeah. Superstition Shadows Park, so since our last meeting, I know I already shared with you that lighting, tennis courts, those were all complete. So lighting the skate park and lighting of the tennis courts went to LED. All of that completed since we met last, and everything opened up to the public. For a short amount of time, the courts were ready for the tennis team to practice on, half, and then finally got to be on the full set. But all of that has been completely open for the majority of the month of March. In addition, the newer thing that's happened since we met last is that the parking lot has been completed. So this chip seal and slurry, so that's all fresh, and then fresh painted lines. It hadn't been done in years. We took it back over from the school district, and so this was the first chance for it to be on our rotation to redo the parking under that grant. And in addition, at the same time, they installed the ADA sidewalk adjacent to the parking lot, the tennis court side of the park with the pool side. So there is a pathway that would go from the pool, but it ends on one side of the parking lot. You wouldn't be able to continue without basically rolling into the parking lot and then getting back out again. Now there's a sidewalk that people will be able to continue from one side to the next, which is going to be excellent for our Halloween event as we continue there. As a reminder for that site, the ADA ramps, so the big ramps that take you to the playground and to the other side, those are in design right now. So those we are having to make, when the park was originally built, we had one set of ADA standards, and then when the new law came out and the new standards were adopted, we added that to our transition plan. The regulation changed, and that was an item that when we would do another renovation, that somewhere down the line, we would make the slope is too steep is basically what is wrong with it. So it's still doable. I shouldn't say it's accessible. It's doable. It'd be very difficult even in a wheelchair. That's why the railing is there for them to kind of pull themselves along, but this would even that out a lot. So that's a major project that's still left. The skate park fence, we repaired a lot of it and painted it back in during COVID, but we did not replace it. And we always knew we were only going to buy ourselves another 3 to 4 years. This LWCF grant actually removes the old fencing and replaces it completely, which is what it's due for. And then a fitness circuit out on that little loop is the other item. All of those things will be completed next fiscal year as part of the LWCF grant.
Was there more lighting added to that?
No, it's not adding lighting. It was converting our existing lighting to LED, and we completed the parts that were done through the grant. So there's already all the lighting throughout the park itself on that side had been converted, and the grant paid for the tennis courts and the skate park to be converted. We have not added any other lighting at this time. And then my final facility update is the dog park. If you follow us on Facebook, you probably have already seen, but we will be closing the dog park for spring repairs. I shared with all of you at previous meetings that this was something we were contemplating. Just that grass really, it was the perfect storm of, and I do mean storms, of all the things. So at the time that it was constructed, there were some imperfections of how it was applied, but we also didn't have a commercial irrigation control system, so that caused us a lot of issues just because of back delays. The one that was spec'd for our park was not in, and we had major delays on that, so we had a kind of like a residential controller for irrigation, which doesn't do the things that we need it to. And then we had storm after storm after storm. In addition, something like the 100-year storm is what we had, which is not what a park is designed based on. A park is usually designed based on like a 25-year, I don't know if it's called a 20 or 25-year. So it works really well for the average storms that we're gonna get. For that great big one that we got, it just, at the really most inopportune time, it washed all that gravel, everything from the parking lots, everything from the streets, flooded that area. And so we saw a lot of issues with that. It's the summer grass that we really want to make sure that we get a good established base. And we will also, at this time, while we're shut down, the reason why we're shutting down for 5 weeks is that the first week we'll be installing some dry wells in the basin of the large park. That will help with a lot more of holding water underground versus at the surface where it's sloppy and dogs can tear it all up. In addition to some other types of drains that will help a little bit with the drainage of that park. So that's the first part that has to happen. And then after that, we will be overseeding with Bermuda grass so that we can bring in summer grass. That doesn't take quite as long to establish as our winter grass, but we want to give it plenty of time. And during that time, we will be doing a lot of other improvements. So bringing in a little bit more seeding, adding in those trees to the west side of the park. There's a lot of cleanup of the drainage from some of that early storm damage that has to be done, but a whole lot of other maintenance that'll be good to be able to do at that time.
Is there any thought of adding more fill to the low spots?
No, it has to have that capacity. So
Oh, okay, right.
it is currently dug out to the volume of what the type of the type of drainage that it needs to have. So no, we don't want to fill it up anymore. No, and that's why, though, if we can have the dry wells under surface, then those will handle a lot of that. And there's going to be some areas, like under the great big, so there's a lot of shade over there, and so that makes it hard for grass to keep coming back. The other thing is we probably, our maintenance supervisor said, we probably shouldn't have overseeded in fall. It's truly better to go ahead and let that summer grass get 2 or 3 years maybe. At Flatiron, we didn't really experience that because there's no shade. There's not quite the same type of use that we have, obviously, at the dog park, running all over it, but it might have been a good idea to do. So we are likely not going to be overseeding in the fall. The grass will go dormant, it will be brown, but it will still be a good base that is, Bermuda grass is just a little bit more hardier than the rye. So Shoals, our contractor, and J2 Design, who helped us, they are helping to make sure that all that stuff works well. Shoals is contributing to this spring project. So they've been really awesome to work with, wanting to do everything they can to kind of get the grass right and not just say it's our problem. So we've been really, really thrilled with that. We've done a ton of marketing of just sharing it on social media. There's signage out at the dog park. And that signage will also be in front of all the gates when it's time. The rangers, our website, city council, they have the frequently asked questions. I will definitely make sure that we send those out to you after this meeting, the list of frequently asked questions in case you get it, but it is linked to on our website. And everything that we are posting reverts back, tells people for more information to go to that /dog park page. Good. And the frequently asked questions are there. So we kind of try to anticipate what we're going to hear and make sure that people are armed with information. So far as we posted it, we really haven't gotten too much negative feedback. A lot of people have shared it, and so we're hoping that people are understanding that for this small inconvenience that it will be better in the long run.
When will it reopen then? What is the date for reopening?
So April 10th through March 15th, is that about right? Thank you, May 15th, not March. We don't go backwards in time. April 10th to May 15th, so it's about 5 weeks. We did give ourselves an extra week in that time frame so we could kind of plan for the worst. If we can open it up sooner, we will open it up sooner. And then I will just say, with the way weather has been, we've also made it clear that this is our best guess, so please be patient with us. I do have one more final thing. This Saturday is our next, so we will be transitioning flowers at the focal point again. And so we will have the public can come, and we will have empty gallon buckets that people can come, and we will help them to transplant, take the flowers that are there now. They can take them home, reaching out. Any of the ones that are definitely spent, we'll be getting rid of. But then the new flowers will be going back in next week or the week after that.
What time is that at?
We are going to be doing 8 to 10 in the morning. We'll do like we always do and probably leave a row that if people want to come and grab them throughout the weekend, they can. Once the guys take the last of it, then that's the end of it. But The time that we'll actually have volunteers there to help is 8 to 10 in the morning on Saturday. And that concludes Parks and Facilities, unless you have any other questions.
Could maybe upon the reopening, do a licensing kind of event?
So we already have, we're doing some biannual events. So we just did that one that was a Yappy Days, and we did some different things. It really just depends on when Animal Paws and Claws can come out. So we've asked them multiple times. They really just have not had the staffing to be able to do an event. We are actually doing our public art unveiling as well. Will be sometime in May. They're going to make sure that it's after we reopen. So it really will just depend. Just keep in mind that those are the hotter months, and it is challenging. So it just really will depend on what other events we have going on, whether we're going to be able to do that. But we will be having some type of public art unveiling, and that might be a great thing if somebody's willing to come out. But the two groups that do licensing, they've come out the max of what they've been able to so far this year.
Okay.
Anything else? All right, I'll turn it over to Jamie.
Good evening. Welcome back to Rally. You were missed last month.
Thank you.
Before I get started, I had shared with you guys that Jill, our recreation coordinator, had, I want to say retire, but she didn't retire. She just moved. It feels like she retired. But she did move out of state, and we were able to fill her position with her then recreation assistant. So tonight, I want to invite Elliot to come on up, share a little bit about himself, introduce himself. But I have a little bit to share about Elliot. So he was raised in Illinois. We'll forgive him for that. So I know Liz was going to say that. She has to. Her in-laws are all there. The one thing about Elliot that that I'm just like in awe of is that he is EMT certified. So when stuff goes down or I hear sirens, I'm like, where's Elliot? We got to find Elliot. He interned for Maricopa. So we're fortunate that he came and worked for us and not them. He did graduate from ASU. He is a Sun Devil.
Go Sun Devils.
But he's getting his master's degree from Wisconsin. So I'm not sure if he was looking, I'm not sure what's going on there. But Elliot has, right now, he awes me every day with his excitement and passion for his job. I have seen him grow leaps and bounds in just the short 2 years that he's been here. He's contagious. You cannot be in a room and not walk out in a good mood. So if you ever need a good fill of excitement or just joy, like it eludes from him, Elliot is the person that you want to be around. So Elliot, come on up and share a little bit about yourself, please.
Alrighty, well, like Jamie said, my name is Elliot. She shared a lot of my background. But yes, I am a very proud Sun Devil. I graduated with my Bachelor's of Science in Parks and Recreation Management, and now I'm pursuing my Master's in Recreation Management as well. So this is definitely a field that I fell into and fell hard and fell in love, and I'm super excited to be able to work, especially because I oversee aquatics and outdoor programming. My concentration in undergrad was actually in natural resource recreation, so the outdoor programming part is very close to my heart. As you guys have seen, we have a lot of invasive species here in Apache Junction. So one of the projects that I have really been closely involved in is some of our buffalo grass removal. At Silly Mountain, we have really been working hard on trying to control that because it will help our indigenous plants thrive a little better. So I'm super excited about that. Really fell into aquatics, and I enjoy it a lot. I enjoy working with some of our younger employees with that, seeing them grow. But I'm also super excited about just the growth of aquatics in general. Aquatics historically was a summer thing, and as you guys have seen in the past year, we have really grown it into the fall. And I'm hoping to really continue that growth so that way our community has access to aquatic programming really from spring till fall instead of just over the summer. Nice. With that, do you guys have any questions for me to get to know me a little better?
Why Wisconsin? Do you have to go there for like certain testings or like they have a completely different outside? That's why I'm asking.
So that is a good question. I did a lot of research on different types of grad programs. My first choice was, of course, ASU to become a double devil, but their program is not online. So I did a lot of research on online programs, and the University of Wisconsin La Crosse campus has one of the best programs in the country, and they really focus on professional development. So the course track that I'm in is only allowed for people who are currently working in the industry.
Wow,
Nice.
that's good.
We'll allow it.
Good choice.
I do want to say that I love, and it's probably TikTok, but I don't have TikTok because I see it on Facebook. I do love the snippets that I see dancing, competing with the library, pulling that grass weed stuff. Yeah, I enjoy those.
So just so that it's on the record, Carol, we did win that. So library did lose, so thank you.
Gotta add that to the minutes.
Yes. But I have really enjoyed being part of the marketing team, which is headed by Riley. We've had a lot of creative freedom to be able to create some of these social media videos to really get excitement around some of the areas that can be pretty dry and gray if you're not creating fun videos.
I'd also like to mention, so for our National Rec and Park Association, our annual conference, this year Phoenix was the host, so it goes all across the nation, and Elliot was with the he was one of the co-chairs for the Young Professionals branch track. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah. So NRPA has a couple different subgroups that you can be part of, and one of them is Young Professionals. So I was fortunate enough to be on the host committee for the Young Professionals, which allowed all individuals who are either newer to the industry or under the age of 35 to be able to participate in some networking activities as well as mentorship programs so that they can be connected to recreation professionals all across the country.
So, pretty cool.
That is.
Very good.
Anything else?
Anybody?
All right.
Thanks, Elliot.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elliot.
Welcome to the team, officially new title. Woo-hoo!
Yeah, very good.
This one?
Jamie, you're still up.
I know,
You-
I'm working on
You
it,
get
I'm
me.
working on it. Okay. Well, I thank you guys all for pretty much doing my presentation, because you guys have been to everything, so thanks for reporting back. March did provide us with great weather, and we filled every single weekend with programs and events, fully taking advantage of it. The Superstition Sleepover was the very first weekend in May. We had about 130 people attend. Again, if you go out there, you see all kinds of cool tents. We had some archery going on, roasting s'mores, and some stargazing, and some cowboy stories. So overall, it's just a great event. I forgot to add pictures in, so there isn't any if you're looking for them. Sorry, JJ. Blues and Brews, which is really, we are a partner doing logistics. So Judy, thank you for pointing that out. So our parks team does a great job helping set up the perimeter of it and the stage, and we kind of help with the logistics, and then it really is Chamber and JC and Mara who do a fabulous job putting on that event. About 2,100 tickets sold is what we've been informed. You throw in a couple of hundred vendors and participants and volunteers. It was a really good turnout, and yeah, the weather was fantastic. Dino Days, about 1,000 people we had in attendance over the 2-hour time period. We are going to mimic that event in a much smaller scale, maybe over the summer, just to be able, it's so popular, and that age group really loves to engage, and we put a lot of work into it. We think that we can use a lot of that same stuff, but be able to maybe bring it indoors a little bit where it's gonna be hot this summer. Our Leap and Leprechauns out at Silly Mountain was such a big hit that they decided to stay until March. The Leprechauns loved the weather, they loved the environment, and every time I tried to go out there to help them go on their way, there was just too many kids and too many families, and I really just didn't have the heart to take them down in front of them. So they stayed a little bit longer, hung out at the Botanical Walk, but they are definitely going to be back next year. We had a little bit of controversy on our Shamrock event out at Prospector Park. So Dee, thanks for your support and helping hide rocks out there. Apparently they were all gone by 9:15, and people were a little bit disappointed that even though we took 200 out there, that there weren't very many left. So we went back out at 2 o'clock and managed to put out another 65 rocks. Again, very difficult. Even though it was a Friday, it was March 17th, it was a Friday, there were thousands of people at the park. It was a beautiful day, and there was groups under the ramadas on the playgrounds, and it's very hard to not to try to look like a creeper at a park, but yet hide things. So we do have some plans for next year to kind of, spread that out, maybe go to 2 different parks or secretly announce that morning which park we went to kind of make sure we spread that out a little bit. March 29th, the Multi-Gen Center hosted a stargazing event, our first one, and we had almost 50 attendees. So that was a volunteer group. The East Valley Stargazers came out. It was I wasn't there, but Michelle reported back that there was a lot of good engagement, and they're excited to come back. Itty Bitty Olympics, as Frank mentioned, we had 120 Olympians, all under the age of 6, compete in various events. Funny how every single one of them won. So very excited about that. Our registration for our summer activities is open. So swim lessons and open gyms and sport clinics, we are open for registration at this time. We currently had 21 lifeguards in our lifeguard training class, and all of them passed. So I think that's because we had great teachers. Yeah. And then we have 20 in our junior guard training program, and we know that junior guard training program will max this year, and we will have a good crew to come back. Last weekend, as you guys mentioned, we had a whole lot going on April 1st. I know it touches into next month, but Earth Day, I do have to say Horizon Health is our partner in that. And when I say partner, they do about 70% of the work. They host it. The gardens were absolutely gorgeous this year. They're full of vegetables. And they really do, the vendors, we come, we help market, we help support it through logistics, and then bringing out all of our fun staff and our games and our activities and creativeness. But we are excited. They have applied to get a grant for more lighting, and we hope to be able to maybe do a fairy garden party in the fall with them. So we are truly excited for that. Also on the 1st, J&G Inc. raised over $4,000 hosting a golf tournament for our youth sports program. This is something that he has been a coach and a parent in our programs, and he's passionate about youth sports. He does this really on his own, and then donates the proceeds back to the golf tournament. So we're excited to be a recipient of that. And then the Friends of AJ will be hosting their charity golf event in May. And then a couple of other notable activities. I don't just like to focus on the special events. Those are the ones that are first and foremost in our face. That's what we see. But we were excited to have Tina with the fire department. She came and talked to our seniors during lunch about fire safety and safety in their homes. We had a field trip to the Science Center over spring break, and we hosted an intercession spring break program at the Multi-Gen Center. So we were pretty excited about that. We also have a program that Michelle runs, and it's about how to live a healthier life through eating, your exercise styles. And Michelle just said, Jamie, the other day, one of them texted me, because that's what Michelle does. She gives out her personal phone number and says, if you need anything, call me. But she got a text in the morning, and she said, I just want you to know how much this program has impacted and changed my life. And Michelle was just like, that just solidifies why we do what we do. At the Earth Day event, we had a little girl who I let put her hands in the ladybugs, and I told Mom she might get weirded out. There's 100,000 ladybugs in this bag, and she's just like, can we give it a go? And I said, yeah, we'll give it a go. So she put her hands in there, and her face just lit up, and she came out, and she got the ladybugs off of her arms, and she said, this is the best day of my whole life.
Wow.
And I look over to Jared, the event coordinator, and I'm like, we're at 10:30, boom, we're done. Like, best day of her life. Like, you don't get a better compliment than that. Now, I'm sure the next day something better happened, and that was the best day of her life, but we're going to take it for that day. So April is a busy month. We're going to start Friday with rock painting at the Multi-Gen Center, so you guys can come down, paint with me. Again, it's free. All you have to do is bring some rocks or your neighbor's rocks. Easter egg hunt is on Saturday. If you have a couple of hours that are open and you want to come help, we could use the help. That is a volunteer and a staff intensive event, but it is pretty easy. It's a lot easier than Halloween. It's easier than holiday. It's usually like you get focused on one thing. That's all you have to do. It's really an egg race. They're done in like, I think 2 and under takes the longest at maybe 7 minutes, and everyone else is 7 seconds, maybe 70 seconds. We have April Pools Day coming up on the 22nd. Again, we partner with fire department. We have the police department will be out there. We are landing a helicopter out there, so that's pretty exciting to see. We'll also have some information on skin cancer, pool safety, and then the event finishes with an hour of open swim. It's concentrated on pool and water safety, but the way that we get people excited about doing that is letting them get into the water. So it's a great combination. We will have movies and concert this month. So again, April, we're jam-packed. May, we won't have something every single weekend, but let me give a shout out to Mother's Day Tea. If you are considering going, you want to get in and reserve and get your tickets now because it will be sold out probably in the next 2 weeks. Jody, yeah. So this concludes my report for tonight. If there are any questions, I'm happy to entertain them.
For volunteers for the Easter egg hunt, what time? What time do you need the volunteers there?
We would want you there by 8:30, mainly so you can find a parking spot. And then the egg hunts start at 9, so if you get there at 8:30, we will position you to help out on the fields.
Who would we contact?
You can let me know. Jared is going to be running that event, but I'll get Jared to get with you guys on details. Frank, too. Any other takers? Going once, twice? All right, you guys get special treats next meeting.
Yes. Issue, there have been phony vendor events scheduled at Rodeo Grounds. Have you been aware of that, I think?
Yes, so yep. So you were in contact with us that day,
Right.
Which we appreciate because I'm not on the discussion boards and neither is Liz. So feel free, just like you did when you guys start to see something. Consequently, our city manager and one of our past city council members also caught it and was happy to share with us. But I'll defer to Riley.
And I actually found out today that it is at PNM Arena, which is down the road. And so when I think they were saying Rodeo Grounds, they had the two mixed up. So there is an event that I learned yesterday at PNM Arena on that same day with vendors and all of that.
Okay,
So-
so it may have been that simple rather
Yes.
than malicious. Well, it's better an innocent mistake than something malicious, for sure.
I like that better,
Yeah.
but.
All right, thank you.
But we do from time to time, even on our own Facebook page, we see trolls that are trying to sell tickets to an event that's actually free. So they'll be like, oh, we couldn't make it to Dino Days. If you'd like to buy my tickets, contact me. Riley and I are pretty quick. We're on there, we're like, ban user, ban user, ban user. I mean, our events are free. So from time to time, you might see a little PSA reminding folks not to buy tickets from folks, or should come straight from us, or they can email us, so.
And the rock painting, that's on Friday, you said?
It is on Friday at 5:30,
Okay.
and it's at the Multi-Gen Center.
Okay, anyone else?
Thanks, Liz.
Thank you. Next is old business. Liz, you have something for old business.
Yeah, so tonight we're going to be voting on the changes that we'll be recommending to the city council for our portion of the code. So just that we've talked about this multiple times, we're not going to spend a lot of time on it. I just want to make sure there's no questions. But for the Parks and Rec Commission, as a reminder, there were a few, I think somebody caught another error from the past. Our main purpose was to go in here and remove secretary, as we do not have that officer position. And again, while we were in it, we were able to clean up a couple of other, we used to be called a community services department. That got left in there somehow over all these years. So, so that's what that one is. And then, oops, shoot. Glad I didn't close it. And then the one for our department, Article 313, we removed the section on banner placement since we don't have those anymore, the large banners on the trail. In addition, we added a couple of categories. G was the assigning the management of care and having a tree policy. That is in order so that we can become a Tree City USA. And that application will be in the future, but this was one of the requirements. So we added in wording that they recommended. And then again, during the review process, Joel Stern, our city attorney, had recommended that we add in this section about that our department is responsible for the creation and maintenance of inspections of our facilities and amenities and things like that, mainly for, I don't want to say liability purposes, but just to kind of reiterate our responsibility and to make us also aware of those types of things. So we deferred to his judgment on that. As I said, we removed the banner stuff, and that, amazingly, for a department that does so much, it's crazy that banners took up about a third of our code back in the day. We do way more than banners now, as you can hear. So if there's no questions, tonight we are recommending that these changes are approved by the commission, and if they are approved, then we will be taking them to the city council. And you do have a suggested motion in your packet. You're free to make whatever motion you would like, though, at your convenience.
I move that the Parks and Recreation Commission approve the red line changes to Article 2-8 and Article 3-13 as presented, and that they be recommended to the Apache Junction City Council.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion from anyone here? Okay, glad to see this is being taken care of. A roll call, please, Carol.
Sure. Commissioner Judy Bory,
Yes.
Commissioner Terrell Moore,
Yes.
Vice Chair Heather Muller,
Yes.
Commissioner D.L. Kine,
Yes.
Commissioner Cheryl Bigelow,
Yes.
Chairman Frank Shanebeck.
Yes,
Thank you. Approval is unanimous.
thank you. Discussion and update on the Park and Recreation Strategic Plan. Liz, is this you?
Thank you, Chairman Shanebeck. Tonight is a night for us to have further discussion on our strategic plan. And just as a quick reminder of kind of where we've been, this has been a very long process. I think it's our first time doing something like this, and we've had lots of reporting that has come to you over the last year. But as a reminder, we have a general plan that the city adopts every 10 years that has to be voter approved. And that established major goals and objectives for every area that's in the general plan. Our particular area is Chapter 2 in the Parks, Rec, and Open Space element. And we derived items that we want to include in our strategic plan from that document. So we just want to remind everybody of that. And so we set about basically taking those directives, and we want to have a document that is our strategic plan. This is not approved by voters. It doesn't go to council. It's our document. You all will ultimately approve it once you're satisfied with it, and it will become our work plan for our department. And every year, our plan is to kind of review it, and we'll recap that at the end. There are two documents that community major input was received, other than our general things that we hear on a regular day-to-day basis. The community survey, which you were given some summary data last meeting, as well as our citywide national community survey. The city does a citywide survey that is done by a consultant, and it's done, the same study is done across the nation, and it basically compares you to your benchmark cities as well as to the nation average in general. And there is a small component in there that is dedicated to Parks and Recreation. So it covers lots of areas. And you may or may not have seen it. It goes out to a random sampling, and it is a very structured, strategically or statistically relevant, and they do a lot of work. It is paid for. So some of our, as we move forward, and some of the recommendations that will be coming will be derived from both of these community input documents, as well as your guys' thoughts as our appointed citizen representatives. This is a list of the information that has been discussed at various Parks and Rec Commission meetings to date. We just want to have it in your packet so that you know that these were things that we talked about. It's been a long time, and so it might be forgotten. When we get towards the end, we will have a compilation of all of those documents that we went over, our inventory of our facilities, the improvement areas that we identified, in addition to what is going to be, what is in the community survey. All of those things will make sure that you kind of get a remembrance of that when we do our final presentation, but just as a reminder to the group. So after going through all of our community survey, we have staff have sat down and kind of grouped everything into what our final strategic plan is going to have. We are going to be focusing on 4 components. And so I'm just going to cover those with you briefly, and as we get to each one, we will discuss each one. So you guys were given the opportunity to look at all the raw data. This is not your only time to respond. I know we only gave that to you early this week. And if you would like to have a hard copy and you didn't already ask for one, we can try to get you that later on. It is a lot of pages. Some of you like looking at it electronically. Others of you might really need it in paper form, or you might feel like you've already looked at it plenty enough. But it will be there so that as we go to these next 2 meetings, you'll have that information as one of your pieces of information to guide this process. So component 1, we actually combined 2 categories because we felt it was better to just focus on parks in one major component. The strategy that we're doing here and the item in our goal from the general plan is to identify and prioritize basically expansion, so future stuff, and then also to inventory and identify improvement areas of existing facilities. So those are the 2 kind of major components from the general plan. From the survey data that we have of where we ask for the top amenities, I have put these, well, Riley and Jamie and I have looked through this multiple times. Carol and Mary have assisted in trying to extract all of the comments. So the comments were open-ended. Wish there was another way of doing that, but it wasn't. We wanted people to have a free ability to suggest what they want without us weighing in on what we think they want. So it does mean a lot of evaluating every single answer and figuring out what category it falls into. But by and large, I rank ordered the comments that we received the most often. So Riley, in her presentation last month, was sharing with you kind of what were some of the summary items from those. Many of those are also on this list, but it was an idea of what are the types of responses. We've looked at it further and we've rank ordered it. Again, if you feel like there's something else that's not on this list or that you think should be higher up, feel free to look at that raw data and let us know. And if there's something today as we're talking, that'll kind of be your opportunity. So larger splash pads, so it was really based on having something that isn't, remember Flatiron is a small, it's an artistic, it's a little pocket type of thing. It was never intended as a major splash pad. We had lots of trail comments and we tried to separate them out and it just got to be too complicated. So we lumped more trails. They all included things like bikes, bike trails, bike paths. Later on in time, we could certainly look at digging deeper into that if you guys wanted us to, but ultimately we know there's a lot of need for this type of amenity. More pickleball courts was number 3 in our long list of things. Not number 1, but it was really close up there. These all are very close together. Adult fitness equipment was a little challenging to evaluate. It's hard to tell whether or not they meant like indoor, but many of the comments or where they were associated with other questions, you could tell that they meant outdoor. So things for people to use outside. And So really, the majority of the comments in this section were about outdoor fitness equipment. So remember I told you we have fitness equipment coming at Superstition Shadows? It's basically workout equipment that's on a circuit that is very common in lots of parks. We've had that request for many, many years, and that is why we are implementing it there. So it's actually kind of exciting to see that that was something that is desired in the community. And a lot of people probably don't know that that's coming. More playgrounds, some way, shape, or form playgrounds were on the list, and so it made it to these top 5 or 6. And then there was a lot of comments about just more general amenities. So like more restrooms, more water, more shade, more seating were sprinkled throughout the entire comment section, and so it definitely rose to these top 1 through 6. So those were the top requested facilities that we don't have in certain places. Was there anything else that any of you saw or felt is missing from this list?
I have a question on more trails. Does that include ADA type access?
I don't know. So it was mostly asking for trails and paths. So we didn't see any, and I would definitely encourage you to look and see if you saw something that was specific to ADA. I don't recall seeing that. Having said that, though, there are right now trails are not part of the current standards in certain areas. Certain trails are not part of that, but our botanical walk is ADA accessible, and so we do care a lot about that. I think that's more of a determination for ourselves of inclusivity that we want to make sure that we have. But I don't recall it being mentioned.
Okay.
Liz, the homelessness has come up and the prior problems. Just an update, where are we at on cameras for Flatiron?
Well, we can share that. We can add that to an agenda item, but right now we can't talk about homelessness and cameras because it's not part of the agenda. If, as we took it, maybe in improvements, that might be a good place. But we can certainly give an update on cameras. We do have cameras in a lot of places. I'll give you that short answer.
Okay.
That it's a major improvement.
Okay.
But cameras are not the end all for homelessness.
Oh,
so,
no,
right.
but it's a step. Thank you.
So those are the top requested facilities. Any other facilities or amenities that you feel is missing from this list based on reviewing the information? And like I said, there'll be time for you to add it again. We'll explain next steps, but we'll be bringing back some information. And if you saw something that you just want to make sure we don't forget, you're certainly welcome next meeting to share it.
I'm surprised more people didn't ask for fishing.
I am
saw a
super
few, but it didn't
surprised.
seem
So
like a
when we
lot.
get into programming, I don't even think I saw it there. I think our community just doesn't have anything like that. We will be, because there's going to be a lake at the south end, and that's just already determined. But I was surprised, too, that we didn't have a little bit more about lakes or things like that. I did not see hardly any.
There were a few in the comments, but.
So again,
scattered
a
out
few,
there.
but it's kind of like, we had a few of we had a lot of things that made it 2 times or 3 times.
Right.
We picked things that were like 10 or more. The top 3 were in the 18 to 20 people mentioned them. Nothing else there?
Good.
And so then for the improvement area, the other question was asking what areas of our existing facilities need improvement. I will just say people took the opportunity in every question to speak their issue, I guess I'll say. So in programming, in improvements, in needed facilities, you saw the same theme evolving. They just said it again. So in programming, you're like, we need more pickleball courts. Okay. So areas for improvement, restroom cleanliness and odor. So I, again, have listed these in the order of how often they were listed according to our analysis. So restroom cleanliness and odor, again, no big surprise. We know that that's one of them. Safety due to homeless activity. Indoor, outdoor courts cleanliness. So this was everything from tennis and pickleball courts, the outdoor basketball courts, to the multi-gen center, gym, comments of off and on. If they said that it needed improving, that's what indoor, outdoor means. Updates to MGC and pool. So again, it wasn't really more like these are bad. It's like we'd like to see these updates at these facilities. And sometimes it didn't say anything other than updates. And it probably just we have an old pool, so updating different things. Dog park maintenance was on this list. Older playgrounds needed to be improved, and then not enough shade in general were mentions. So I think those were all pretty, none of those are really surprising, I don't think, in my mind. The indoor-outdoor courts cleanliness was an odd one that I saw multiple times. And then I want to mention that there were lots of comments that we didn't put up here. So the comment that said none, or not applicable, or we think you're doing a great job, far outweighs the improvement areas.
Yeah.
But this is what we're focusing on. These are the things we want to glean from them. And again, you can see that for yourself in the raw data of what that looked like. Any improvement areas that you don't think made this list that was on the raw data? And it doesn't mean that it can't be a priority of yours later on that we talk about.
They didn't add benches as, along with the shade, but benches?
So top requested facility seating is listed in that number 6.
Oh, number 6.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh.
Again, these two kind of tied together a little bit, so it was a little hard to differentiate. But yeah, we already have seating down.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay. Sorry, I used some of this from another thing. So you're going to see check marks jump up here.
Love it.
One other thing I want to point out, so Judy mentioned ADA access paths. So again, we're really reviewing what has the community said, what have we been hearing, what are the top things? When we get to that next step, if we want to make ADA accessibility for all a priority in our strategic plan, you will have that opportunity to talk about that as we get to those final stages. Frank mentioned miniature golf course. It doesn't mean that it's going to make it in there, but again, it might be something that he wants to say we want to explore it. It might not be our next future facility because we don't have enough people doing it. It might be finding out more information about that. So just keep in mind that this is just one piece of information. We're going to do a recommendation based on this, and then you're going to be able to weigh in a little bit as well. Top expanded programs, we kind of, after 7 items, these were kind of the most frequently. So again, if they had 10 or more answers, they kind of made it onto this list. But number 1, Elliot should be super excited because this is total job security for him. Outdoor stuff is number 1 on both lists. So outdoor hiking, biking, horseback riding. I tried to divide those out. Riley put them together for a reason, and I thought, oh, I know more, and I'm going to divide them out. No, it was almost impossible. They're tied together in so many of the comments that we just lumped it all together. More fitness classes for all ages. It's hard not to read some of these and feel really defensive because we have Jamie, how many fitness classes a week did you share with CLI?
Between 30 and 35.
So 30 and 35 individual different fitness classes. Some are multiple times a week. We feel like we have a lot of things. But it's important to listen to our community, and we keep trying to remind ourselves of that they're just saying more. And some of them were about different ages, so maybe there's a lot for adults, but not a lot for youth. We've tried lots of different things over the years. It doesn't mean we shouldn't try it again. So there's a lot of different meaning out of more fitness classes that we need to kind of keep in mind. Pickleball, again, no surprise. Most of the time they put more pickleball courts, but obviously pickleball is a growing and important area. So leagues, clinics, that kind of stuff. Dance, different types of dance classes, gymnastics and tumbling for youth. So these were pretty neck and neck in number of mentions. Art, so ceramics, different kinds of crafts. And then number 7, more aquatics programming. I feel like the most exciting thing is that for many of these, we already have so many new neat things. We're gonna have so many more aquatics programs this summer. We're already doing a lot of these things, but it's great to hear what people are listing as some of the things that they're interested in.
You don't have a lot of water aerobics.
We have the most amount of water aerobics that we can fit into the pool right now, but are we having more this summer, or is it the same water aerobics?
I just registered for the stretch
Good
and
for
toe,
you. Good
and
job.
It's only offered Monday and Wednesday from 7:30
Yes.
to 8:30. It'd be nice for maybe.
So
a
when you
weekend
see
or
the
early
full
hours.
calendar, we will be happy to share. Actually, that might be a great future thing for us to bring, is the grid of everything that's happening, because we only have one pool, And we only have so much time to do everything that we do, and we still have to maintain it. So the guys have to be able to get in there too, but I think that'd be a great thing for us to share of everything that's going on.
yeah.
Yeah.
A question,
Go ahead.
Liz. On the fitness classes, are they full? Do they get, people register for them? Or do you have to cancel any of them because not enough people?
No, we never cancel. So the fitness programs that we're basically talking about are the ones that come with a membership. So they're offered, you can sign up 2 days in advance, so you can call in, put your name on a list, and then once it's full, we don't take any more. If we have openings that day, then you can still go in and take the class. Depends on the class. We do have many of them that are full, especially this time of year. And then we have many that people are like, yeah, that's too much for me. Our HIT programs, some of Mimi's classes, but they're small in nature. We do offer some programs through our senior side that are free programs that are fitness classes as well. And those you just have to be part of the LTP program or pay $2. Is that, or Marv, just $1 to take those classes?
But they're free if you pay the $20 a semester.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we do have a free option as well. So and then we will have some where you have to register because they build on each other, and that's a program. So if we have a cane class or if we had a fitness dance program, then you would register, completely different from having a membership. So we have different opportunities.
Anything that you feel like should have been on this list that you don't see or that you saw that seemed big? So then the second question that we tied to programming was, what are your biggest barriers? That's one that we probably could have given some suggestions and it made our job a lot easier because they did fall into these categories. And these are typical things we see, but again, I listed them in order of the biggest vote getters. So the day and the time offered, again, we're not going to get into the weeds of what does that mean? Which one do they want? So some people did say things like, I need more weekend or evening. We've done lots of different things, but this means we need more. We want to evaluate more. What does that mean to people? Because it was mentioned many times. The cost, we have a lot of free programs. We have a lot of very inexpensive programs. We don't know what that answer means to people. And so again, that's something to look at, but it's listed as the second most highest barrier to participating. We have a very extensive scholarship program. Do we need to, we try not to advertise it because we don't want to run out of money, but should we be doing it a little bit more? So finding some of those happy mediums. Number 3, biggest, most frequently answered was they're too busy. So people just have busy lives and busy schedules anyway. So that was interesting to know. And then the 4th top reason was transportation. That ranged from anything from traffic jam, many times listed, to traffic, to I don't have a car, to the normal transportation things you would normally think of. So it's too far away for me to drive to it or to walk to it, that kind of thing. And again, that's a pretty typical answer. So those are some of the barriers that we would be addressing, in our future planning. Anything that you felt like is a barrier that I'm not listing? Okay. Item number 3 was focusing on our marketing strategy assessment. So how effective are the tools we currently use, and are there other things we could be adding? The top utilized by vote, so over 100, I'd say, I think 114 is our best count. But City of AJ website is actually the highest vote getter. Then Google and internet search, so people are just searching randomly, and that's how they find out our information, which is cool. Facebook was the number 3 answer. And then MGC or another facility program, like learning when you go to something. So MGC was mentioned multiple times. And then the 5th highest answer was either a friend, family, or other type of contact, somebody else. So word of mouth. And I think that's really important because there were a lot of other listed things that got 2 votes or 3 votes or 5 votes. But word of mouth is still really important. Notice, so brochure isn't listed here. We haven't had a citizen brochure, a true one, in since right before COVID. And so a lot of people don't even know that that existed. So we didn't see that answer. We will be bringing that back because it's a great feat. We are working on that for the new budget year with the city manager's office. But it wasn't listed here, but I also don't think people even know it's an option. Twitter, I'm sorry, not Twitter, Instagram and TikTok, some of those were all listed. They just were lower down, definitely nowhere near the amount of traffic that Facebook has. So again, not something that we don't already kind of know. We put a lot of effort into Facebook. Anything you think you thought was going to show up here that didn't? Notice the newspapers aren't listed. You know, we don't have a weekly anymore. Radio, none of those things are really listed. So most frequently, the suggestions that they gave, so the second question was, what are your suggestions of how we could do more? They listed a lot of the things that we already do. I would say the biggest vote getter was more avenues for flyers and posters. So they mentioned the schools and other things that put posters at other sites. We do a lot of that already. They might just not be seeing it. So it was more like more Facebook. Some type of a calendar, all things that we do. So I guess I'm just guessing it's more, or they might not know where to find those things.
They're missing them.
Any other suggestions that you feel like you've heard oftentimes, or?
We put stuff on the digital billboard, don't we? Okay.
That was mentioned. It just didn't make the top 5 of what they use. Again, we had a lot of put more things on the marquee, put more things at the school. It was like more of whatever it is we're doing, that if we wanted to do more, I don't really want to say improve, but if we wanted to get something more out there, it was like, yeah, do more of this. So
Nothing new, just more of what's already happened.
I didn't really feel like we saw very much new stuff, or anything that was really like eye-opening, at least not that had very many answers or many suggestions on that. The fourth component that this is the only component that we really haven't talked about as a group. It will be part of our our strategic plan and what we do and what we think we can improve on, that you'll be able to respond to. So this wasn't something that is really it's not something that's part of the community survey. But I wanted to share with you what are our current funding sources. And again, I put them in rank order of which areas that we get our most funding from. And we'll be sharing our strategies for those. How can we improve some of those revenue streams? So general fund tax dollars, so the sales tax that everybody gets on food and goods in our community, or they buy it online, that's where we get the majority of our funding for everything that we do, our parks, our programs, everything. So that's from our general fund. Anybody thinks that the city sales tax is too high? I'm sorry, it's the only way we get money. There's no property tax that the city of AJ administers at this time anyways. It's our only way that we have the beautiful parks and the fabulous programs that we have. The wonderful streets, the amazing police department, the amazing library. That's how all of us get the majority of our funding. The second item is development fee funds. So for those residents or commercial properties where they're building a brand new building, they have to pay a development fee when they do that. And we get a small little chunk from each one of those. That's partially how we funded Flatiron Park, and it is fully how we funded the dog park. There was a few little donors, but the majority was from development fee funds. We have about $20,000 in it right now, so we don't have a lot of money to do the next project. Basically, every 5 years, we have about $1 million, and we can do something with that through development fee funds. Grant funds, only in these so this is up here pretty high just because we are starting to see so many more grant opportunities. We are able to get, all those state park grants that are funding Superstition Shadows Park, Silly Mountain, that's, we're to the tune of almost $1 million in our playground. Those are all grant funds. And so that's pretty high up there. Fees for services is also a funding source that helps us to keep our programs going. So the fees that we charge for the MGC and the pool, those are very important to have. We try to keep them as reasonable as possible but they're very necessary. Corporate partners and sponsorships, and then donations kind of round out the end. Any questions on that? Okay. So next steps. At the June meeting, not the May meeting, we'll skip that one for strategic plan. And at the June meeting, Riley will be sharing our draft Parks and Rec strategic plan with our prioritization, our recommendations, so that you can respond to it. If there are things you want to ask or add, we're taking notes from today of some of your comments and questions. And if there's other things that come up in your mind, you're welcome to email me. You will be able to, we will make sure this is an agenda item next time, but it will only be if you saw something from the raw data or that you're hearing that you want to make sure that we are considering for the strategic plan. So June, we'll share the draft. You guys will get a chance to make other recommendations and to respond to it. And then our plan would be to come back to what, again, based on those responses, then it might be one more time coming back and it's all good to go, or it might be a couple times. It's really up to what you guys feel like once you feel comfortable with it and you guys are ready. August and September, I just put this in here as a tentatively, we want to get it done by then. That's our main goal. But you guys will actually adopt the Parks and Rec strategic plan once it's final and you're happy with it. And the reason it's taking this long is because this is the first time we've ever done this process. We spent a lot of time on what we want the format. We want you to like the format. We want you to have buy-in. And then our Parks and Rec Commission will review and update this annually. So it will be something that will be a one agenda item on the first meeting that all the new commissioner members are on. We'll review what the recommendations are. You'll get to add things, and then in the next meeting or two, we'll set the strategic plan for the next year. So that will kind of be how that works annually moving forward. Any other questions, concerns, anything?
And that was well said.
Yeah.
Thank you. Enough for me to go back and look at the raw data to really start analyzing a few things that I may have in mind.
Absolutely.
To see it coming to light.
Yeah, I definitely encourage all of you, again, getting a little bit of an idea, and you might see some of those answers a little differently also. So feel free to say, hey, I didn't see such and such on your list, and it really looks like it comes up often, and then we'll definitely go back and take a look at it. A new set of eyes is certainly welcome, because we've looked at this stuff a lot. And then I just want to say thank you to Riley, who's really taken the lead on this, and then Jamie has done a lot of work, and then Carol and Mary, they're the ones who really spend a lot of time looking cross-eyed at everything and counting all the answers and trying to categorize them for us. We will be sharing this information with our staff as well, and so kind of using that to bring back the final document to you guys.
Did we have a breakdown of ages, the age groups for that?
Yep.
I was trying to remember, what those breakdowns were.
Yes, I'm just
More
going to,
younger than older.
let me just show you really quickly. When you open up your document, it's a 56-page document, and Riley created, so in our Survey Monkey, she was able to create really great graphs and some other things. Based on your feedback, when we shared this with you before, I do want to point out, thank you for asking that, Judy, because it will, hopefully I can get there really quickly. So all of the demographics, so basically this is in question order of the survey, so if you are interested in a certain question, you'll find it pretty quickly.
You weren't fast, Liz.
Did I?
Nope.
Oh, whoops, I'm going too fast.
I think
It's on like
fourth
four-ish.
item in
Yeah.
there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if we're right.
We'll see where I'm at.
There you go.
So those are the age groups. I'm not gonna be able to find, it looks like it doesn't wanna keep up with me, but I don't know if you guys remember, but there were questions like, which of the park amenities do you visit the most? And one of the answers was unknown. They've never, you know what I mean? Like they don't know, or they don't have any experience with it, or they've never done a certain program. You guys had suggested that we take that out. We have the data, we can certainly share that, but what we really want to know is of the people who used it, what do they think of the improvement area? So again, for the question like, how do our parks need to improve? We didn't want that unknown or that I don't know to skew the percentage of the people who think it's poor, good, excellent, whatever. So we took that out, and then it kind of readjusted those amounts. I think we kept it, I don't think we kept in the number of unknowns, so maybe we'll just think about that a little bit. But we wanted the graph to, because it's just much more helpful to kind of see from the eye, so.
One thing, I think, have we compared the demographics in our survey compared to the actual demographics of the city?
I do remember that question. We will make sure that we add that to our introduction in the beginning of our strategic plan.
I know, you guys have nothing else to do.
No, I think we did talk about that. We were going to share that in our stuff, so we can definitely do that.
Just curiosity.
I honestly couldn't tell you off the top of my head. The National Citizen Survey that is done is a fully demographic survey. And as part of when we share this final plan, we will kind of share with you why are we saying some of these things? Those had some really good responses of who's using our facilities, if they think that they're in good shape, bad shape, horrible shape, those kinds of things. And that does also have some really great demographic data that we'll make sure you are aware of. Anything else?
Can we go back and pull up that survey? In other words, to take a look at it,
Are you talking about
I'm
the
trying to remember.
the survey that we just did
The one,
that has this data?
uh-huh,
Well,
it's not that.
well, you guys can't, we can look at it, but like for what purpose? And then I can help you, because this is the actual information.
This is the final
Whoops.
results of that.
Correct. So
that,
what is it that
okay.
you would like to pull up? They actually list the question in the stuff that we gave you.
Mhm.
So what else would you like to get from that?
Well,
Do we have a hard copy version of it? I don't remember. Or
do.
was everything online?
No, we do have a hard copy that we printed for the seniors to do. We just have to find it.
Oh, yeah, she means the actual survey itself. Okay, yeah, so
We
we,
have it somewhere.
yeah, even if it's just a hard copy to take a look at again, I think just to review I guess my mind is, what were some of those questions and trying
so
to.
we can definitely do that, but I just also want to share with you that that is how this is created,
Okay,
is that you can actually see the question first. I closed it.
You did.
You can actually see the question, so it'll say question 1, it'll say exactly what the question was, and then what were all the answers. But
Okay.
we can share with you the one we did for the seniors.
okay.
Anything else?
I just want to say thank you. I have been through the raw data, and I can only imagine how long that took. Because just reading what you had compiled, I was like, oh, this is going to be a fun evening. So I can only imagine. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thanks all.
All right. Update on the process to purchase 20 acres of our current BLM lease property at the Rodeo Grounds.
Let's turn it. Dang it. I don't think this is an actual BLM. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to work with me here on this one. I didn't think about turning this. So we've talked about the Rodeo Grounds a lot. We expect that this month, we should be getting our purchase agreement to take to city council. And so hopefully I know for sure we won't be able to get it on an agenda for council this month at this point, because our next meeting is coming up, and so more than likely the May meeting, but we're hopeful to get the actual purchase agreement. It will not change in money. We already know what the appraisal is and that the amount is $1.4 million that's already been budgeted. So all of that is ready to go. Council is aware. The agreement itself has to come in, and we have to make that final determination. I don't see any reason why that wouldn't happen. It's really just waiting for BLM to get to this final step. So it's definitely been a long, drawn-out process, a couple of years once we knew we could do it. And we were hopeful it would be ready at the first of the year. That's what I was told. But there is a last step, which is finalizing all their language, and then that gets posted. And it is open for comment from all of the legislature, so Congress, it's all part of whatever their process is to do that. So there's a period of comment that is 60 days. And so once that language got finalized, we had to wait the 60-day period. That 60-day period, it either ended at the end of March or it's ending this week. And then they will have the permission to be able to send us then the purchasing agreement for us to go take to council. So we're really hopeful that we're going to have that finalized. What's really important for all of everybody to take away is that once we buy it, that does not mean that suddenly we will have Reba McEntire concerts and all these rodeos and all of those things. Next year we have budgeted for, and as of now it's in the budget, we'll know better later, but we've budgeted for money for staff that is, in order to have more events, we have to have more overtime for parks maintenance, people to help Riley and all of us to manage those events on those weekends. At some point, we are going to need somebody who is going to be an event manager. At some point, we will have the need for more maintenance staff to be there on a regular, everyday basis. This is one of 4 major areas of responsibility under Matt King and his staff, and so there's no way they'd be able to do all of these things. So we have budgeted a little bit for part of the year next year, with the intent that once we own it, we can have more events because people who want to have, or for-profit entities can rent it. So we want to be prepared to be able to bring in a little bit more revenue next year with the existing facility, without a lot of improvements. So we are not budgeting for major improvements next year. Next year is going to be to increase some of the use and to start our planning process. So we will be hiring a consultant to re-look at our original master plan, which is almost 20 years old, but it was an amazing document that the city spent a lot of time on. It's how we got the grandstands and the restroom. But they'll look at that piece, and then we will go through a process of working with the users of the current users, the commission, the council, to talk about what do we want to have there in the future. Because I would imagine that things have changed in 20 years, and the things that were desirable then might not be desirable now. We have had many conversations with Queen Creek and Horseshoe Park to find out what worked for them, what didn't work for them, there's a lot of things they wish they wouldn't have spent their money on and they would have done it a different way. Theirs is a multi-million-dollar facility that was intended to bring in revenue. It probably recovers about 2/3 to 3/4 of the cost, I think is the last thing I'd heard, which is actually really fantastic, but it's not a revenue, it doesn't make money for the city up and over and above at this point. They have lots of plans and goals to get there at some point, I think. So we've talked with them about what we could be doing at our center. The most important thing is for everybody to understand that the part that we are purchasing is this little small green part. That's what 20 acres is. That's the Rodeo Grounds lease. That was the only thing that we were allowed to even apply to purchase. In order to make that bigger, which we tried, we would have had to broken out a portion of the Prospector Park lease. So it's all or nothing. And this is like 200 acres or something like that, and we wanted to know what it would cost for this. BLM let us know that the area that's used for parking and some ancillary stuff, we can still use those areas. There is parking in the plan of development for Prospector Park, so as long as we don't make money on those things, or if we do make money, that we put it back into the Prospector Park facility, which is no problem. We spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on Prospector Park every year. We can still use them. But this is effectively the fenced-in area at the Rodeo Grounds. So there's the arena, all the area where the carnival is, the restrooms, all of the parking on the south end. So it's still a really big area, but we'll be master plan. So next year is master planning and then looking for funding for improvements. The old master plan was a $30 million facility. And we did $1.2 million of it with the restroom and the grandstands, and that was in 15-year ago dollars. So that's way more now. So we want to set up expectations. This is just the first step of many, and to kind of manage the expectation that overnight we're not going to have Ostrich Festival and all of these, Country Thunder, all of these things might not happen overnight, but they're definitely things that we will be planning and working to. And it's going to be an exciting year. You guys will be very involved and hear a lot about kind of the planning stages for the rodeo grounds.
With the rodeo grounds, if we own that property, but we use BLM land for overflow parking, will that have any influence on what we do on our part?
No, so that's what I was kind of saying is that when we originally asked BLM, we asked for 80 acres. And when they gave us a decision that we couldn't, that they wouldn't recommend that we split it out, it would have taken way longer. They said that because there's parking in the Prospector Park Plan of Development, we can have parking in the Prospector Park BLM leased area, which is the green.
Okay.
And that's where our parking is. We could use it for events at the rodeo grounds. We just can't make money above and beyond. So we couldn't charge for parking and then pocket that money. We'd have to be able to show that we're spending an equal amount of money in Prospector Park, again, which is no problem. We spend way more than that amount of money at Prospector Park right now.
But that won't restrict what we do on rodeo grounds.
It will restrict to the degree that it restricts right now. So all of you know Last Session Days was very challenging, and it's really tough getting enough parking there. But those will be great things for us to be working on in our master plan. What could be better solutions? And plenty of people have restricted parking and they shuttle. So that's what LPGA did this past when they had their event out at Gold Canyon. There was no on-site parking at all. And they shuttled from high school.
I was thinking that let's lost such an event that just let the vendors park on site and everybody else, the visitors shuttle from one of our local parking lots.
We'll be talking about lots of
I think
different
would have saved a lot
opportunities.
of grief.
Yeah, so we will be able to use the parking that we use now.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? All right, more to
All right.
come on that.
New business, Liz.
Oh, shoot. I always close the wrong document.
That one too.
And then my eyes can't see the right one. Oh, Rod, we do. Okay, sorry, Riley. I didn't see a blue thing, and so I closed it too soon. All right, so I'm going to turn over the time to Riley, and she's going to briefly just share with you on the website a couple of neat features that I think you guys had asked about in the past and that we've been talking about sharing with you guys.
Okay, so I'm going to show you our Parks and Rec page and the updated facility webpage that I just did, and then also our GIS page site. So if you go, I'm going to show you the GIS one first. So if you're ever looking for this, if you just go to apachejunctionaz.gov/GIS, it'll bring you to this page. There's a couple different maps on here, but the one I'm going to show you is the development projects one. So if you click on this and you give it a second to load, it does take a second to think. This is going to show you all of the current phases of everything that's being built, applications that have been put in all around town. So if you see something and you want to know what's being built there, you can come to this map and it'll show you. So like right here, this is on Winchester and Old West Highway. It's the auto zone. It's approved in the purple, as you can see. If you zoom out, these orange ones are all pending review. If you click on them, which one was it, Liz?
Oh.
So if you click on one of them and you scroll down, they do have, if it has a picture, you can click on it and it'll show you all the documents, or all the pictures and the plans that go with that. So you can kind of see what it's going to look like, the plans that they have for each of their little townhomes they're building, and what they're going to look like. So that is the GIS map. And it does show you Pinal County land. So any of this orange that you see right here, that's all unincorporated Pinal County. So that is not part of the city limits. And I don't
Are
see.
those RV parks, Riley, the brown?
They're just different parts. So like these ones, I think are RV ones.
Aren't most of them RV parks?
I think some are houses down here on Tomahawk that are in unincorporated. So
Yeah, if you were to zoom in, you could see a little bit better. The main point is that brown is a county island. As Riley said, it's not technically in the city limits. It's a county island that has never been annexed into the city.
So this is just a cool thing so you can see at what stage something is. So if it's still pending review, if they've already approved it, if they're working on it, or if it's completed. So all these new homes down here in Goldfield, those are all completed, so they're done with that. And then this one is another section of it that they're still working on. So you can see that their phase 1 is done, but they're still gonna work on, it's approved for them to do a next phase of them.
So if anyone asks you what's being built somewhere, go to this or share with them. We really want to get the word out to the community. Our development services team is slammed. They have so much stuff going on, and I think it's super important to share. They did an amazing job to get this going. City manager's office really made this a priority, and we definitely want to share with the public.
So apachejunctionaz.gov/GIS. Super easy to get there. Now I gotta find ours. Okay. So if you go to apachejunctionaz.gov/parks and recreation, you will get to our page. So this is the landing page that you'll land on. So just our mission statement, our activity registration, all of our general information right on the front. If you click our activity registration page, this will take you to how to register. We don't have a citizen brochure, but I do still make an activity brochure with all of our activities in it. We still have the spring one up because technically that one runs through April. And as Jamie mentioned, summer registration just opened, so now we have our summer one up here also. If people click on the link, it'll open our activity guide and show you all the awesome programs we have. They can also just click our registration site and it takes you directly to our Civic Rec where they can register online. Also, on this page and our home page, we have our calendar of events. So all of our big events are listed on this calendar. So you'll see we have our Easter egg hunt on Saturday, we have our movie in the park on the 15th, and then we have April Fool's Day on the 22nd. So all of our big events are listed right here on this calendar. The other one that I'm going to show you is our new parks and facility page. So we used to have a couple different pages for parks and facilities. We tried to combine it into one, and then our development services made us a nice parks and trails page that I'm going to show you. But this is our parks and facilities. It tells you our park rules, our city code. We have a lot of people who ask where people can fly drones in the park, so that's on here. And then it lists all of our parks, the times, our facility rentals, our guidelines. So if somebody wants to rent something, they can find all of their information right here. And then our special event application, if they want to have a special event within the park, is listed right here. And then our electronic message board, so that's the downtown marquee, how they can, the process and the application right there. If they click on this parks, trails, and recreational facilities, it is going to take you to our new page that Development Services made for us. So again, on this page, if they get here and they want to know facility rental information, it'll take them there. Our park rules and the accessibility information is all right here on this page also. And it has a map with all of these little blue pointers as our facilities. So you can click on one of them and it'll take you to the information. So the Rodeo Park and Event Center, it'll tell you the address, what each facility has, and then our map of the center, or the facility, so if they wanted to know what it looked like, they can easily get there. Let me show you. So Superstition Shadows Park, it also has the hours, if it is open. So the Rodeo Grounds we don't leave it open to the public. They have to reserve it if it's for something big. If it's just, a lot of people will go out there to fly their drones. They just walk from Prospector Park out there. So that's why hours are not listed for Rodeo Event Center. But so all of the parks will have the hours that they're open. And then they all have the nice aerial map that shows the facility, each ramada, where everything is located. And then the Aquatic Center has the more information button, so that will take them directly to our aquatics homepage so they can get the information for the Aquatic Center. Same with our dog park and the MGC. So the dog park, it still has its own page, facility page. It probably always will, because there are different rules and regulations and information that people need to know for the dog park. So they can click that and it'll take them right here to our dog park page where they can find out all the information that they need. Is there any questions on our website?
No question, but very, very impressed.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
This is something big.
So I can't take credit for this nice webpage. Our development services team worked really hard on it for us. And it is much simpler to use than our old webpage. I just cleaned this page up a little bit to make it a little bit more streamlined and easier to find information.
But in general, Riley does manage our website, and anything that we want to have done, she's the one who makes sure that all of this is working and stuff. Others contribute and things like that, but definitely big kudos. The GIS division is amazing, and they've added some staff to help with a whole lot of things like this, and they are super proactive. They came to us with this concept and idea, and we're super happy for it.
It's great, great information.
Have
Great-
we thought
Great
about
to see the
sharing,
progress.
have we thought about sharing it out, like on Facebook, so that the general public knows about our website and all of that?
So we just finished this last week, 2 weeks ago. We are still cleaning up some of the website for summer. We want to make sure all of our information is really on there for summer, and then we will share it out.
Perfect.
And on all of our Facebook posts, we either link back to the website or Civic Rec. So we try to make sure people know where they can find information easily.
I'm sure I'll share it every time someone asks what's being built in the Walmart parking lot.
The dentist office.
You're gonna have a lot
I'm
of
just
work
gonna
to
start
do.
linking them the GIS
Yeah.
website and be like, you could find your own info.
Anybody else have any questions for Riley? Really nice, Riley, thank you.
Thank you.
And that gets us to call to the public. Anybody out there have anything to say tonight? Okay, we're gonna pass on that. Call for future agenda items. Anybody on my left have anything they'd like to see? Montrell.
Not that I know of. I gotta look at the data again.
Judy, Ely?
No,
I would like to talk about the
Cameras?
cameras.
Okay.
And also, we're having some bathroom updates coming, some restroom updates. Can we review those, please?
Sure. We have a variety that have happened, but they're all in piecemeal, so
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, with supply chain issues, things happen chunks and pieces these days.
And just costs in
Yeah,
general,
right.
so yeah.
Okay, well, the next thing is selection of meeting dates, times, location, and purpose. I'm looking for a motion for this.
I move that the Parks and Recreation Commission hold a regular meeting on May 3rd, 2023 at 6 p.m. in the City Council chambers located at 300 East Superstition Boulevard.
I second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Carol, may I have a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Judy Bory,
Yes.
Commissioner Terrell Moore,
Yes.
Vice Chair Heather Muller,
Yes.
Commissioner D.L. Kyne,
Yes.
Commissioner Cheryl Bigelow,
Yes.
Chairman Frank Shanebeck.
Yes,
Thank you, it's unanimous.
thank you. Thank you all tonight. This has been a longer meeting than usual. Appreciate all the information and attention everybody gave. And at this point, we are adjourned at 7:39.